संस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
भारतीय संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा, ज्ञान और विज्ञान यहीं से सबने पाया सारा, सबने पाया सारा। कुछ भूलों से हारा फिर से जीते देश हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी, वैज्ञानिकता विनय सभ्यता स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी, स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी। देशभक्ति में तेजस्वी हो फिर समाज यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे,
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
महावीर गोविंद शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे, परंपरा की पुण्य चेतना उर में हम सब धारे, उर में हम सब धारे। बाल हृदय में उसे जगाकर जगे देश यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
समर्थ बनाओ, बंधु भाव समता ममता से सबको गले लगाओ, सबको गले लगाओ। चलो विवेकानंद मार्ग पर शुभ संदेश हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, 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 गीता परिवार हमारा।
Now, it's not just about learning the Geeta. It's also about playing with the Geeta. On the auspicious occasion of Geeta Jayanti, the Geeta Jayanti Olympiad has been launched by Geeta Pariwar. This Olympiad is open to everyone and participation is completely free of cost. The Olympiad includes 5 weeks and 5 special rounds where each round combines learning with play. And finally, there is the grand finale, a magnificent live competition. For every activity, you will earn credits, and these credits will help you move up the leaderboard. Along with the joy of playing, there are prizes worth rupees 1 lakh, certificates and special recognitions. So come, don't just read the Gita, live it, play with it and celebrate it. Register now at play.learngeeta.com.
आदरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुराः पाणिर्मधुराः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
स्मरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
Now, it's not just about learning the Gita, it's also about playing with the Gita. On the auspicious occasion of Geeta Jayanti, the Geeta Jayanti Olympiad has been launched by Geeta Pariwar. This Olympiad is open to everyone and participation is completely free of cost. The Olympiad includes 5 weeks and 5 special rounds where each round combines learning with play. And finally, there is the grand finale, a magnificent live competition. For every activity, you will earn credits, and these credits will help you move up the leaderboard. Along with the joy of playing, there are prizes worth rupees 1 lakh, certificates, and special recognitions. So come, don't just read the Gita, live it, play with it, and celebrate it. Register now at play.learngeeta.com.
सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले। संग्राममय जीवन
गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जो दायकु फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसतिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
Now, it's not just about learning the Geeta. It's also about playing with the Geeta. On the auspicious occasion of Geeta Jayanti, the Geeta Jayanti Olympiad has been launched by Geeta Pariwar. This Olympiad is open to everyone and participation is completely free of cost. The Olympiad includes 5 weeks and 5 special rounds where each round combines learning with play. And finally, there is the grand finale, a magnificent live competition. For every activity, you will earn credits, and these credits will help you move up the leaderboard. Along with the joy of playing, there are prizes worth rupees 1 lakh, certificates, and special recognition. So come, don't just read the Gita, live it, play with it, and celebrate it. Register now at play.learngeeta.com.
अब केवल गीता सीखना ही नहीं है, बल्कि गीता के साथ खेलना भी है। गीता जयंती के पावन अवसर पर गीता परिवार द्वारा गीता जयंती ओलंपियाड का शुभारंभ किया गया है। यह ओलंपियाड सभी के लिए है और इसमें भाग लेना है पूरी तरह निःशुल्क। इस ओलंपियाड में 5 सप्ताह और 5 विशेष चरण हैं, जहां हर चरण में सीखना भी है और खेलना भी। और अंत में है ग्रैंड फिनाले, एक भव्य लाइव प्रतियोगिता। हर गतिविधि पर आपको क्रेडिट्स दिए जाएंगे और वही क्रेडिट्स आपको लीडर बोर्ड में आगे बढ़ाएंगे। खेलने का आनंद तो है ही, साथ में 1 लाख तक के पुरस्कार, प्रमाण पत्र और विशेष सम्मान भी हैं। तो आइए, गीता को केवल पढ़ें नहीं, उसे जिएं, उसके साथ खेलें और उत्सव मनाएं। तुरंत रजिस्टर करें play.learngeeta.com पर।
Jai Shri Krishna and a very warm welcome to all sadhaks gathered here this evening. In devoted and sincere reverence, I humbly bow on the lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Krishna and Param Pujya Swami Acharya Govindev Giriji Maharaj. May we always be blessed to have their guidance as we walk this journey called life. Chapter 18 of the Bhagavad Gita, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, stands as the culmination of Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna's teachings, where the wisdom of the entire Gita is gathered and offered with compassion to the seeker. The chapter opens with Arjuna's sincere question, what is true renunciation? What is real sannyasa? Bhagwan begins by gently correcting a common misunderstanding. He explains that renunciation does not mean giving up action, but giving up the attachment to the fruits of that action, to the result of that action. What makes this chapter especially powerful is that Bhagwan speaks not as a philosopher alone, but as a compassionate guide leading Arjuna and therefore all of us from confusion to clarity, from effort to surrender. Step by step, he prepares us for the final teaching where action, knowledge, devotion, and grace merge into one single path. As we now enter today's Vivechan, may we listen with openness and reverence, allowing Bhagwan's concluding wisdom to settle deeply within us so that it may guide not only our understanding, but the choices that we make in our life every day. But before we begin, a couple of simple technical pointers to help you enjoy a smooth and immersive Vivechan session. If there is no or very low sound volume, then please connect your headphones or increase the volume of your phone or your computer. If the chat box is blinking continuously, tap the bell icon at the top right corner to mute the notifications. Please check your internet connection and if possible use Wi-Fi instead of mobile data if you see blurry screen or if speaker's voice is breaking frequently. If Zoom keeps disconnecting, then you may watch the session on YouTube where it is being live streamed. Bhagwan teaches that the way to attain him is to keep our minds lovingly united with him when he says, Manmana bhava mad bhakto. And we all know that prayers is the soul's natural language, the gentle way through which our inner being expresses love, devotion, and surrender at the feet of the Paramatma. Today, I would like to call upon Ramesh Gangadhar Kamtarneji from Digras in Yavatmal, Maharashtra to deliver prayers on our behalf. A retired teacher, Rameshji joined Geeta Pariwar in 2020 and provides seva as a group coordinator. Bhaiya, request you to please chant the prayer.
जय श्री कृष्ण
Jai Sri Krishna.
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण
Jai Sri Krishna. Bhaiya, thank you for chanting the prayer so beautifully. Thank you. Bhagwan also reminds us that he is the source of all the light in this universe, radiance that forever stands beyond the darkness of ignorance. Gita ji becomes that sacred instrument through which he passes this divine luminosity into our lives. Just as a lamp is lit during Deep Prajwalan, dispelling darkness with a single flame, may the light of Bhagwan's wisdom kindle clarity, devotion, and inner brilliance within us, guiding our each step towards truth and spiritual awakening, for which all of us have come here to Geeta Parivar. For doing the deep Prajwalan today, I would like to call upon Sri Lakshmi ji from Mysuru, Karnataka. Having joined Geeta Parivar in November 2024, she gives seva as a TA, TTG mentor, GC, as well as in the tech query support team. Sri Lakshmi ji, may I request you to kindly light the lamp, invoking wisdom and auspiciousness for all of us.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you so much, Sri Lakshmi ji, for making us part of that beautiful Deep Prajwalan to Geeta Mata. As many of you already know, as part of Geeta Jayanti Mahotsav, the Geeta Olympiad is currently underway. It has several engaging events, attractive prizes, and is open to everyone and is completely free. If you haven't registered yet, request you to please do it at your convenience by visiting play.learngeeta.com. Play.learngeeta.com. I have registered and I can say that you will love it. More details are also being shared on your WhatsApp participants group. We are also very happy to share that our next L1 batch begins on 30th of January. For those of us who have been blessed to walk the transformative path with Geeta Parivar, this is a wonderful opportunity to invite our friends and family to experience the same joy and wisdom. Let us help spread the message far and wide across India and beyond so that many more seekers may come closer to Geeta Mata. Registration is very simple and can be done on joingeeta.com. And now, it is my profound honor to introduce our speaker for this evening, Senior Trainer Shri Vikas Vaidya. With deep study and contemplative insight, Vikas brings unique and illuminating perspective through the many commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, enriching the understanding of seekers across diverse audience groups. A seasoned world traveler and an NRI for over 12 years, Vikas is a gifted polyglot fluent in 6 languages: Hindi, Marathi, English, Indonesian, Malaysian, and Spanish. Academically, he holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and a postgraduate diploma in business management, and currently leads an IT enterprise firm based out of Pune. For the past 5 years, Vikasji has undertaken the profound personal sadhana of chanting the entire Bhagavad Gita every single day of the year. A rare and inspiring discipline that reflects his unwavering devotion. Alongside this, he serves as a senior trainer of Geeta Pariwar, actively involved in the selection, mentoring, and training of new trainers. He also conducts deeply impactful Vivechan sessions on Vishnu Sahasranama as part of the Pune chapter of Geeta Parivar, and guides aspirants preparing for the Geeta examination being conducted by the Sringeri Peeth. Vikasji himself has excelled in the Geeta Kanthasthi examination from Sringeri Peeth and was honored with the first prize at the hands of Param Pujya Jagadguru Shankaracharya ji, a true testament to his scholarship and dedication. With folded hands, I now request Vikasji Bhaiya to take us to Bhagwan's concluding teaching and help us reflect on how to live our lives with spiritual finesse. Over to you, Bhaiya.
वसुदेवसुदं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण टू ऑल पूज्य स्वामी जी के चरण कमल में कोटि कोटि नमन ए वार्म वेलकम टू ऑल ऑफ यू गीता साधक टुडे विल स्टार्ट a new chapter. It's new, but it is the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That is the 18th chapter, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. As we normally do, before we start the Adhyay, let us take a brief summary as to what we are going to learn in this Adhyay. This is the final chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is the longest one, 78 shlokas, and covers many subjects. It's a summary of all 17 Adhyas that Sri Krishna Bhagavan has said earlier. Arjuna initiates the topic of renunciation with a question about two commonly used Sanskrit words, sannyas and tyag. Sannyas and tyag. Both the words come from the root words meaning to abandon, to give up, to relinquish. A sannyasi, that means a monk, is one who does not participate in family life. As we know, he withdraws from society to practice sadhana, the spiritual discipline. This is the typical definition of sannyasi that we make. Shri Krishna Bhagavan will not agree with it, that we'll see. A tyagi is one who engages in the activities but gives up the selfish desire for enjoying the rewards of action, karma phala. Shri Krishna Bhagavan recommends the second type of renunciation. He advises that sacrifice, that means yajna, charity, dan, penance, tap, and other acts of duty should never be renounced, should never be given up. Because they purify even the wise. So what about us? It will definitely purify us. It purifies the danis also. Rather, they should be performed as a matter of duty, simply because they ought to be done without any attachment to the fruits of these karmas. Then Shri Krishna goes into detailed analysis of 3 factors that motivate the action. What prompts the action? What motivates the action? The 3 components of action, karma, and the 5 factors that contribute for any result of action. Shri Krishna then describes each of these in terms of 3 gunas of Prakriti, Sat, Parajotamo. That those Shri Krishna Bhagavan will give, he will establish that those with deficient understanding, people who are not very intelligent, understanding themselves to be the karta, to be the doers of their work. But the enlightened souls, purified souls, neither consider themselves as the doer nor the enjoyer of their actions. Ever detached from the fruits of what they do, they are not bound in the karmic reactions. The Adhyay then explains why people differ in their motives and their activities. According to the 3 modes of Prakriti, we know Prakriti Trigunatmak, Sat, Parajotamo. It describes the kinds of knowledge, jnana, types of karmas, karma, and the categories of performances. It then offers the same analysis of 3 gunas for the intellect, buddhi, for the resolve, dhruti, for happiness, sukh. This is also of three types, sat, prajotamo. The adhyay then goes goes on to paint a picture of those who have attained the perfection in spiritual life and are situated in God realization. It adds that even such perfected yogis find completion in their realization only by engaging in bhakti. So only knowledge is not enough. It has to have bhakti also along with it. The secret of Supreme Lord can only be realized, Lord can only be known through loving devotion. Shri Krishna then reminds Arjuna that the God dwells in the heart of all living beings and directs their wandering according to their karmas. Ishvara sarvabhutanam vriddeshe arjuna drishtiti brahmayan sarvabhutani yantararudhani maya. If we remember him and dedicate all our actions to him, offer all our actions to him, and taking shelter of him, take his ashraya, that means making him our supreme goal, become his parayana, then his grace will fall on us. He will bestow his grace on us, and with that grace, we will overcome all obstacles and difficulties in our spiritual path. But if motivated by pride, we act according to our own whims, we will not attain success. Finally, Shri Krishna reveals that the most confidential knowledge is to abandon all varieties of religiosity and surrender to God. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vaja ahantva sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyamashya. This wonderful shloka also will study in this adhyay. However, this knowledge of Gita should not be given to those who are not austere or devoted, because they will misinterpret the message of Bhagavad Gita and they will misuse irresponsibility to abandon the action. But if we explain this confidential knowledge to the qualified souls who have faith in Krishna, who have faith in his messages, it is the greatest act of love and is very pleasing to Shri Krishna. That we will know in this adhyay. Arjuna then informs Shri Krishna that his illusion is dispelled. Nashtomo sthiti labdha tvad prasadan mayachyuta sidosmi sagandeha karishye vachanantava. He is ready to act as instructed. In the end, Sanjay narrates the dialogue to his blind king Dhritarashtra, how amazed and how astounded he is on hearing this divine conversation between Bhagavan Shri Krishna and Arjuna. His hair stands on the end, romanchit, and end in ecstasy as he recalls the sacred dialogue and remembers the stupendous cosmic form of God. Vishwarup he remembers. He ends with a profound announcement in front of his boss, Dhritarashtra, that victory will always be on the side of God. The side on which Krishna is there, that side is going to win. And his pure devotee Arjuna, they are going to win the war. And so will the goodness, supremacy, and opulence. Because darkness of falsehood is always vanquished by the delight of absolute truth. Yatra Yogeshwar Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanurdra Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhutir Dhruva Nitirma Tirmamo. This is the last sloka of this adhyay and of course of Gita. With this quick summary of adhyay, we will now start going into the detail shlok by shlok to get this supreme knowledge given to us directly by Yogeshwar, Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā Atha Ashtadashodhyāyah. Shri Arjuna Vacha Sannyasasya Mahabāho Tattvamiccāmi Veditum Tyagasya ऋषिकेश Prathakkeshi Nishūdana. Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said, Sannyasasya, of renunciation, Mahabāho. Here Arjuna is calling Krishna Bhagavan as Mahabāho. In other shlokas in Gita, Shri Krishna Bhagavan has been calling Arjuna as Mahabāho. Here Arjuna is calling Shri Krishna as Mahabāho, the mighty armed one. Tattvam, the true principle, the essence, the reality. Ichhami, I wish, I desire. Veditum, to know, to understand. Tyagasya, of relinquishment, giving up the attachment. Rishikesh, Lord of senses, that means Lord Krishna. Prathak, separately, distinctly. Keshi Nishudana, again calling Shri Krishna in this with this name, slayer of demon Keshi, is Keshi Rishudana, Lord Krishna. This means Arjuna said, O mighty armed Krishna, Mahabaho, O Lord of senses, Rishikesh, O destroyer of demon Keshi, Keshi Nishudana, I wish to understand clearly and distinctly the true nature of sannyas and tyag, renunciation and relinquishment. Arjuna says he wants to clearly understand, distinctly understand what is the difference between sannyas and tyag. This is the opening shloka of this adhyaya, the final chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and it is extremely significant. It sets the tone for the culmination of entire Gita philosophy. After 17 chapters of profound spiritual instructions, Arjuna still seeks clarification on a subtle but crucial distinction, the difference between sannyas and tyag. Although Shri Krishna has spoken about the renunciation many times earlier in Gita, Arjuna feels that the concepts have been used in slightly different contexts in different places in Gita. Therefore, at this concluding moment, which is the last day of this Gita, he asks for the definitive and systematic explanation so that no ambiguity remains in his understanding of what is sannyas and what is tyag. Now, why Arjuna is asking this question? Throughout Gita, Shri Krishna emphasizes action without attachment. Action without attachment. Yet, he also spoke of renunciation. Arjuna notices that sometimes Krishna praises renunciation of action. Sometimes he praises performance of duty without attachment. So this creates a philosophical tension in Arjuna's mind. What is the confusion in his mind? Is liberation achieved by giving up actions entirely, or by giving up attachment while continuing the action? This is the confusion in his mind. Thus Arjuna respectfully asks Shri Krishna to separate and define these two ideas of sannyas and tyag. Now, meaning of sannyas. The word sannyas comes from sam, ni, as. Sam is completely, ni is down, and as is to throw. Literally, it will mean to completely lay down. This is sannyas. Traditionally, sannyas refers to renunciation of worldly life, abandonment of ritualistic and materialistic pursuits, and a life devoted solely to the spiritual realization. That is what we traditionally call as sannyas. In classical Indian thought, sannyas is often associated with monastic life, physical withdrawal from society, and giving up family, giving up possessions, and social duties. Arjuna wants to know, is this physical renunciation essential for liberation? For moksha mukti, is this physical renunciation essential? Now, meaning of tyag. Tyag means giving up, but with a crucial difference. It's not only giving up. It's not giving up action, but giving up the attachment to the results. Tyag implies performing one's duty without ego, without expectation of reward, offering the fruits of action to the God. Shri Krishna often emphasizes tyag as the practical spiritual path for householders like us and for warriors like Arjuna. Arjuna asks Shri Krishna to explain how tyag differs from sannyas in essence and in practice. But here the word used also is tattvam. Arjuna does not want a superficial definition of sannyas and tyag. He uses the word tattvam, meaning the ultimate truth, the philosophical essence, the underlying reality between both these sannyas and tyag. This shows that Arjuna's spiritual maturity. He is no longer confused as he was in first adhyaya and part of second adhyaya about whether to fight or not. Rather, he seeks clarity of wisdom to live rightly. Now, confused Arjuna is gone. He is getting more and more matured. Krishna has been called with three titles in this shloka. Mahabaho, mighty armed, indicates Shri Krishna's strength and capability to resolve difficult dilemmas of human beings. Mahabaho. Rishikesh Lord of senses. Rishik, Ish. Rishik is senses, Ish is the God, Lord of senses. Implies Krishna's mastery over senses, hinting that true renunciation is inner control, Indriya Nigraha, not outer withdrawal. So he has been called Rishikesh. And third, Keshi Nishudana symbolizes Sri Krishna as the destroyer of inner demons such as ignorance, doubt, and attachment. By using these three terms, Arjuna expresses, only you can destroy my confusion. Mahabaho, Rishikesh, Keshinishudana, only you can destroy my confusion. Now, this question is not merely academic, difference between sannyas and tag. It reflects a universal human dilemma also. Should one abandon worldly responsibilities to be spiritual? We are living in samsar with our family. Should we give up all that to become spiritual? Or can spirituality be lived within action? You continue action and still live the spirituality. Krishna's answer in this chapter will clarify that renunciation of ego and desire is superior. That selfless action leads to liberation, moksha, mukti. That true sannyas is internal, not external. Thus, this chapter, Moksha Sannyas Yoga, is the summary and conclusion of entire Bhagavad Gita. Now, what is the connection of this question to the modern life? In today's world also we see most people cannot abandon work and family. Cannot abandon. It's a fact of life. Can we? We also cannot do it. Yet, they seek peace in life, they seek purpose of life, and they still need liberation, moksha mukti. Everybody wants moksha mukti, but he doesn't want to abandon the work, he doesn't want to abandon the family. This shloka opens the door for Krishna's teaching that one need not escape life. One must transform one's attitude towards life. Renunciation, therefore, becomes psychological and spiritual and not merely physical. Conclusion of this shloka is, this shloka marks the final inquiry of Arjuna. Arjuna has been asking many questions in Gita, as we see. This is the final inquiry from Arjuna and the final teaching cycle of Shri Krishna Bhagavan. By asking about sannyas and tyag, Arjuna asked the ultimate question of spiritual life. What must be given up to be free? What must be given up to be free? The answer Shri Krishna provides in the rest of this chapter will reveal that freedom lies not in abandoning action, but in abandoning the attachment, in abandoning the ego, and in abandoning the sense of doership, kartatva abhiman, ahankar, and asakti. Thus, this shloka stands as a gateway to the highest wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. Now, if we clearly want to understand the difference between sannyas and tyag, let us run through it. What is the difference between sannyas and tyag? Literal meaning of sannyas and literal meaning of tyag. Sannyas is complete laying down or abandonment. Tyag is giving up, relinquishing. What is given up in sannyas? Action itself. Especially desire-driven actions are given up in sannyas. In tyag, attachment to the fruits of action are given up, not the action. The focus of sannyas is external renouncement of activities. In tyag, the focus is on internal renunciation of desire and ego. Relation to action, karma, in sannyas often associated with stopping of action, discontinuation of action. In tyag, action is performed but without expectation. State of life. In sannyas, traditionally it is linked to the monastic life. At the end of life, when people take sannyas and give up their family, samsara, everything. While tyag is suitable for all stages of life. Brahmachari, grahastha, sannyasi, vanaprastha, for any state of life. Attitude towards duty, in sannyas, duties may be abandoned. In tyag, duties are performed as worship. Role of ego, kartrutva. In sannyas, ego may remain certainly if pride in renunciation exists. In tyag, ego is consciously surrendered. No ego. Attachment to results. in sannyas may avoid action to avoid results. But in Tyag, results are accepted as God's will. Inner versus outer. Primarily, sannyas means outer withdrawal, while Tyag means primarily inner transformation. Accessibility. Can we all become sannyasi? Difficult for most householders. Accessibility is difficult for sannyas. But Tyag, yes, practical for all householders and for professionals as well. Risk. What is the risk between sannyas? Can lead to escapism if misunderstood. Many people become sannyasi, but actually they become escapists. They run away. They are not sannyasis. In Tyag, there is less risk. It encourages the responsibility. The scriptural emphasis in Gita about sannyas, it is discussed in Gita. Sannyas is discussed, but not glorified as superior. But Tyag has been repeatedly praised as higher by Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna's final teaching about sannyas is true sannyas is equal to Tyag. That is what Shri Krishna has delivered in this Adhyaya as well as in Gita elsewhere. About Tyag, Tyag is the essence of sannyas. Ideal practitioner of sannyas is very rare. Highly evolved yogis only can be sannyasis. While ideal practitioner of Tyag, the karma yogi can be a Tyagi. He can live in the samsara also. Mental state. For sannyasi, detachment through withdrawal. For Tyagi, detachment through wisdom. Relation to moksha, sannyas, it is helpful. Only if inner detachment exists, then it is helpful. You become a sannyasi and internally you are not detached, then it's of no use. But in Tyag, it is a direct path to liberation. That is the moksha. Tyag gives you direct moksha. Example of sannyasis, forest dwelling yogis. They live in forest. Example of Tyagis, Arjuna was a Tyagi. He was fighting the war without attachment. So we all can be Arjuna, we all can be Tyagi. What is the modern relevance of sannyas? It is limited, very difficult, limited. Well, the relevance of Tyagi is, it is highly relevant. We all can be Tyagi. This has been said in Gita several places. In 6th Adhyaya, first sloka, Anashita Karma Phalam, that is talks about sannyas. In 18th Adhyaya, also we'll read about this sannyas. In 2nd Adhyaya, about Tyag, 2nd Adhyaya talks about Tyag also. Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kudachana, that is Tyag. In 3rd Adhyaya, there are shlokas. And in 18th Adhyaya, of course, there are shlokas about Tyag. Final verdict about sannyas is, it is not condemned in Gita, but incomplete alone. Only sannyas is not enough. About Tyag, God says essential and superior. So this is the difference between sannyas and Tyag. Continue with 2nd shloka now. Now let us see to Arjuna's question, what is the reply from Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamyanang Karunanyasam Sanyasam Kavayo Viduhu Sarva Karma Phalatyagam Prahustyagam Vichakshanaha. Bhagavan said, Uvacha, he said, Kamyanam, the desired, motivated, Karmanam, actions, karma, Nyasam, renunciation, abandonment, Sanyasam, sannyas, the formal renunciation, Kavaya, Kavaya is wise people, intelligent people, sages, Vidu, Vidu is to understand, to consider, Sarva, all, Karma is all, karma actions, Phala, the karma phala, results of action, Tyagam, relinquishment, Prahu, Prahu is to say, to declare, to call, Tyagam, Tyag is Tyag, inner renunciation, and Vichakshana, the wise people. Literal translation of this will be, the Lord said, Bhagavan Vacha, the wise understanding sannyas to be the renunciation of actions performed with desire. The discerning, the Vichakshanas declare Tyag to be the relinquishment of the fruits of all actions. So this is two schools of thoughts. Now, the context of this shloka, as you know, this is the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and it serves as a comprehensive summary of all the entire teaching of Gita. Arjuna begins this chapter, this adhyaya, by asking a crucial philosophical question: what is sannyas and what is tyag? Are they different or they are same? In the response, Shri Krishna, he provides clarity by precisely defining both concepts, starting with this shloka. This shloka lays the foundation for understanding renunciation in Gita, correcting common misunderstanding that equate renunciation with abandonment of duties. सब कुछ छोड़ दिया मतलब संन्यास हो गया, सब कुछ छोड़ दिया मतलब त्याग हो गया, ऐसा नहीं है. Meaning of sannyas in this shloka, Lord says, Kamyanang karmanan nyasam sannyasam kavayo viduhu. Here, sannyas is defined as renunciation of desire-driven actions. Kamya karmas. Kamya karmas are the actions performed with a specific personal desire, such as performing rituals to gain wealth. सत्यनारायण की पूजा कर दी, पैसा चाहिए, काम्यानाम कर्मण. Actions for fame, power, pleasure, or even heavenly enjoyment. All actions which are performed with a purpose on the result of that karma or kamyanam karma. Any action motivated by ego or personal reward is kamyanam karma. True kavayaha, that means true sages, understand that sannyas does not mean giving up all work, but giving up actions rooted in the selfish desire. This is an important correction to the belief that spirituality requires physical withdrawal from society. Gita says a person may wear Bhagava Vastra, he can wear sannyasi's attire, yet remain attached inwardly, then he is not a sannyasi. Another person, he may live a householder's life. He can wear shirt and pant or t-shirt also, but yet he can be a true sannyasi. Thus, sannyas is primarily psychological and ethical and not merely external. Meaning of tyag in this shloka is sarva karma tyagam prahus tyagam vichakshanaha. The wise vichakshana, they declare tyag to be renunciation of the fruits of all actions. Sarva karma phala tyagam. Here lies one of the core teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Tyag does not require abandonment of action. Instead, it means performing one's duty fully without attachment to success or failure, without egoistic claim over the results. This principle directly connects to Karma Yoga, which Shri Krishna Bhagavan has taught in 2nd Adhyaya, 3rd Adhyaya, 4th Adhyaya also partly. What he says, principle of Karma Yoga is Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have right to the action, not to the fruits of your action. Tyag is therefore inner freedom, not outer inactivity. Now the key difference again between sannyas and tyag, this shloka, it draws subtle yet powerful distinction between sannyas and tyag. Sannyas is renunciation of desire-driven action. Kamyanam karma, give up, that is sannyas. Tyag is renunciation of results of action. Sarva karma tyaga. Sannyas is selective abandonment. Tyag is universal attitude. Tyag is universal attitude. Sannyas mainly about motivation. Tyag mainly about attachment. Sannyas most relevant to mental purification. Tyag is essential for daily life. Lord Shri Krishna emphasizes that tyag is superior and more practical for most people, especially the householders. This shloka reflects a balanced Vedantic decision and vision of Vedantas. Action is unavoidable as long as one lives. We cannot avoid the action. As long as we are breathing, we cannot avoid the action. Desire and ego, they bind the soul, not the action. Desire and ego. Freedom comes by not stopping action, but by changing the inner attitude about performing those actions. Thus, by renouncing desire, through sannyas, what you do? You renounce the desire. And through tyaga, you renounce the attachment to the karma, attachment to the karma phala. Then one progress towards liberation, moksha. So both sannyas and tyag, they lead to the moksha only. Sannyas teaches us how to renounce desire, and tyag teaches us how to renounce the attachment to the karma phala. Now this teaching has profound real world relevance. A professional performing duty honestly without greed practices tyaga. A leader acting for welfare rather than power, he practices tyaga. Or a spiritual seeker, a devotee who drops egoistic motivation, he practices sannyas. Thus, renunciation becomes a way of living, not a way to escape, but a way of living. Now, why Gita rejects inaction? Gita always recommends karma, karma, karma. It rejects inaction. Some philosophies suggest that abandoning all actions will lead to freedom. Gita firmly rejects this proposition, this view. This shloka implicitly teaches that mere withdrawal does not purify the mind. Desire and attachment must be removed. Action performed selflessly becomes a means to liberation, to moksha, to mukti. This shloka summarizes the earlier teachings of Gita. In second chapter, we learned karma yoga, part of karma yoga, last few shlokas of second adhyay. Third adhyay is about actions of without desire. Fifth chapter is about the true renunciation. Sorry. And 12th chapter is about devotion without expectation, bhakti without expectation. Now this shloka acts as a philosophical bridge between karma, action, renunciation, sannyas, tyag, and wisdom, dhyan. So the spiritual ideal presented, the ideal seeker renounces selfish motives, that is sannyas, performs duty without attachment to results, is a tyagi, lives in the world but remains inwardly free, that is tyagi. Such a person becomes a true tyagi regardless of external status. External status could be anything, but if internally you are inwardly free, then you are tyagi. This shloka teaches that renunciation is not abandonment of life, but purification of your intentions. True renunciation lies not in what we give up externally, but in what we relinquish internally. Internally, what we should give up to become a tyagi? Give up desire, give up ego, give up attachment, then you are qualified, you are becoming a tyagi. This wisdom makes Bhagavad Gita eternally relevant, offering a path of moksha, mukti, liberation through responsible living rather than withdrawal from the life. So these principles we have to absorb slowly and see how we can implement them in our day-to-day behavior. Continuing with third shloka, Tyajyan doshavaditte ke karma prahur manishinaha yajnanatapah karma na tyajyamiti cha pare. Tyajyam is should be renounced, should be given up. Doshavat as faulty, as containing defects. Iti, thus, eke. Some people, karma is karma, action, prahu, declare, say, manishana. Manishana is wise people, intelligent people, thinkers, philosophers, all manishana. Yajna, sacrifice, or the ritual worship that we do, yajna. Dana is charity, as we know, giving. Tapa is the austerity, penance. Karma is karma, action. Tyajam, again, to be renounced. Apare, others. So this shloka says, some wise thinkers declare that all actions should be renounced as faulty. Sab kaam chhod do, because every action has some fault. Doshavat. While others say that such actions such as sacrifice, yajna, charity, dan, and austerity, tap, should never be renounced. So there are two schools of thought. Now, as we are discussing, this is the concluding and summarizing chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Earlier, Bhagavan has discussed about karma, action, about jnana, knowledge, about bhakti, about tyag, and about moksha. Now, in this opening shlokas of this Adhyaya, Moksha Sannyas Yoga, Arjuna had asked a question, a profound question. What is the true meaning of sannyas? What is the true meaning of tyag? This slok begins Sri Krishna's systematic clarification by first presenting the differing views held by philosophers and spiritual thinkers regarding action and renunciation. Sri Krishna Bhagavan is not saying what he thinks, he is saying what people are talking about. So, two opposing philosophies are viewed here. In this shloka, Sri Krishna Bhagavan does not yet give his final verdict. Instead, he objectively lays out two traditional viewpoints that existed in the Indian philosophical thoughts. First view is complete renunciation of karma, action. Tyajan dosha vadityeke karma prahur manishana. Some thinkers argue that all karmas, all actions should be renounced because every action is inherently defective. Why do they believe so? That every action is defective? Because every action produces karma phala and results bind the doer to samsara. Karma kiya, karma phal mila, get bondage to the samsara again, cycle birth and death. So they say, why do you do karma? कर्म करना ही छोड़ दो ना, न बजेगा बांस न बजेगी बंसुरी, न रहेगा बांस न बजेगी बंसुरी, कर्म करना ही छोड़ दो. Even good actions create subtle bondage. We learned this in 14th Adhyaya also, that even sattvic karma creates bondage. Meritorious karma, punya karma also create bondage. And action inevitably involves ego. I am the doer. Desire for results and attachment and aversion. That's why some people say, कर्म करना ही छोड़ दो. Some thinkers often belong to strict renunciatory schools, emphasizing knowledge alone as means to liberation. They emphasize on jnana, not on karma. According to them, inaction or withdrawal is safer than action, as action perpetuates bondage. While the second view is selective non-renunciation. Yad jnana tapa karma na tyaja iti chakre. Other people, they argue that certain actions must never be renounced, especially yajna. Yajna is selfless sacrifice, worship. Dana, charity, sharing. Tapa, disciplined effort and austerity is tapa. According to this view, these actions, these actions, they purify the heart. They reduce egoism. They reduce selfishness. They prepare the seeker for knowledge. They uplift the society and sustain cosmic order. Srishti Chakra, it helps. Such thinkers emphasize that renunciation does not mean laziness or withdrawal, but right engagement in the world. Now, why Shri Krishna is presenting both the views? Why not talking his view? He is presenting both the views. Some people talk like this, some people talk like this. Why Shri Krishna says this? A crucial point, Shri Krishna Bhagavan is not confused that he is saying both these things, nor is he endorsing both of them. He deliberately presents existing opinions to show the complexity of issue, that how complex this issue is. He is preparing Arjuna for higher synthesis on these thoughts. This method reflects Krishna's role as a teacher. He is presenting the picture. Some people talk like this, some people talk this. Then he will tell what is right and what is wrong. So this method of Shri Krishna reflecting divergent views as a teacher, it's a good method of presenting divergent views. He is not a dictator of ideas. He is presenting the views openly, divergent views. He allows Arjuna and all of us to understand the limitations of partial truth. Although this shloka appears to debate whether the action itself is good or bad, the deeper teaching lies elsewhere. Gita repeatedly emphasizes bondage comes not from action, but from attachment to the action and its results. Attachment to karma and karma phala is the result, it causes bondage, not the karma by itself. Those who condemn all actions focus on external renunciation, and those who defend yajna, dana, tapa they focus on the inner purification. Shri Krishna will soon clarify that renunciation of desire and ego is essential. Renunciation of duty is not. From psychological perspective, a mind filled with desire cannot remain idle, isn't it? Forced inaction often leads to hypocrisy or suppression. Constructive action channels energy positively. Hence, practices like charity, dan, it softens the greed in our mind. Sacrifice, yajna, it dissolves the ego. And austerity, tapa, it strengthens the discipline. That is why the second group insists that these actions, yajna, tapa, must continue, even for seekers of liberation. Shri Krishna certainly introduces a social dimension here. If everyone renounces action, सबने काम करना छोड़ दिया, society will collapse, dharma will decline, and the weak people will suffer in the process. Yajna, dana, tapa are not merely spiritual tools, they are the pillars of social harmony. Thus, renunciation must be intelligent, not escapist. Of Sri Krishna's final teaching. This shloka is a setup. It is making a setup for the subsequent shlokas to come, 4th, 5th, 6th, in which Sri Krishna will say he will distinguish between renunciation of action and renunciation of fruits, karma phala. Declare his own authoritative conclusion, what he thinks about it. And he will define sattvic tyag, what is pure renunciation. So slowly we will getting clarification from Lord himself on all these aspects. This shloka therefore acts as a philosophical crossroads, should I say, where Arjuna sees that wise people themselves differ, making divine guidance essential. When wise people also differ on this, we need divine guidance on this. What is the fact? What is truth? What is the relevance of this question to the modern life? Even today we see people with two attitudes. Some reject the worldly life entirely, calling it corrupt. Others engage actively but ethically, emphasizing the service. Gita does not promote extremes. Madhya marga. Yukta ahar vihara se yukta chesta se karmasu. Yukta swapnavadha se yoga bhavati dukkha. 6th adhyaya is all about maintaining not extremes but madhya marga. This shloka invites us to reflect, are we renouncing out of wisdom or out of fear? Are we acting out of our duty or out of our desire? The core message of this shloka is the problem is not action itself, but how and why action is performed. By presenting conflicting views, Shri Krishna prepares the devotee, the seekers, to rise beyond rigid doctrines and embrace integrated spiritual wisdom, which he will tell in the forthcoming shlokas. This shloka teaches humility in philosophy. Even wise men can disagree. Therefore, true understanding requires divine insight. Not mere intellectual opinions, but divine insight. Shri Krishna will soon show that true renunciation is internal and the right action, while the right action continues externally for the welfare of all. So externally you take action, internally you remain tyagi. Continuing with next shloka, 4th. Nishyam shrume tatra tyage vrata sattamo tyago hi purusha vyagra trivida samprakirtitaha. Nishchayam, definite conclusion, final determination. Shrunu, Shrunu is here, listen, me, from me. Tatra, in that matter of renunciation, tyage, regarding renunciation, Bharatasattama, Bharatasattama, the best among Bharata lineage, that means Arjuna. Tyag is renunciation. Purusha Vyagra, tiger among men, again calling Arjuna as Purusha Vyagra. Trivida, threefold, of three kinds. Samprakirtita has been declared, has been said, has been described. So God says, O best of Bharatas, that means Arjuna, now hear from me, Shrunume, hear from me the final conclusion regarding renunciation. O tiger among men, Purusha Vyagra, that means Arjuna, renunciation has been declared in scriptures to be of three kinds. Trivida Samprakiritah. Now, what is true meaning of sannyas and what is true meaning of tyag was the basic question of Arjuna. Many people misunderstand renunciation as abandoning all work, withdrawing from society, or escaping responsibilities. Lord Krishna therefore takes the special care to clarify this concept thoroughly. This shloka, Shri Krishna's authority introduction to the doctrine of renunciation, he will start. This shloka prepares the ground for the next few shlokas, from 5th to 12th shloka, where Shri Krishna Bhagavan will explain what should be renounced and what should never be renounced. He says, Nishchayam Shrunve. Here the final verdict. Shri Krishna begins with Nishchayam, making a firm, decisive conclusion, not an opinion or philosophical speculation. This indicates that what follows is a well-considered thought, is scripturally supported thought, and is spiritually authoritative. By saying Shrunu Me, Shri Krishna emphasizes that this teaching demands careful attention. Suno abhi मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Suno means pay careful attention to what I say now. Because misunderstanding renunciation can lead to either laziness or to ego-driven karmas. God doesn't want that. That's why he says Shrunu Me. ध्यान से सुनो मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ. Addressing Arjuna, Krishna addresses Arjuna with two powerful adjectives. Bharata Sattama, the best among Bharatas, and Purusha Vyagra, tiger among men. These titles serve two purposes. Encouragement. Arjuna is capable of understanding the subtle spiritual truths, so he is Bharata Sattama. But he is a responsibility also. As a strong and noble person, Arjuna must not misuse renunciation as an excuse to avoid his duty. There's a Purusha Vyagra. Tum Purusha Vyagra ho bhai. You can't give up your duty. This is especially important because Arjuna, standing on the battlefield, was tempted to abandon the action in the name of spirituality. Again, Tyag versus Sannyas, though closely related, Tyag and Sannyas are not identical. Sannyas traditionally means renunciation of ritualistic actions motivated by desire. We saw that Kamyanam Karmanasam. And Tyag means renunciation of fruits of action, not action itself. Shri Krishna emphasizes Tyag because it is relevant to all people, not just sannyasis or monks, but it is applicable to all people. A householder, a professional, a warrior can also practice Tyag by performing duties without attachment to results. Tyaga Trivida, three kinds of renunciation. The central teaching of this shloka is that renunciation is of three kinds. This classification is based on three gunas of Prakriti, Sat Parajotamo, which influence the human psychology. Shri Krishna does not say that all renunciation is noble. सब प्रकार का त्याग ठीक नहीं है. Some forms of renunciation are harmful. Some are self-centered. And only one type of tyag is liberating. That leads you to moksha. The threefold decision, the division between these tyagas will be explained in the forthcoming shlokas. Tamasic tyag. That means renunciation due to ignorance or delusion is tamasic tyag. Rajasic tyag, renunciation driven by fear or by pain or by ego is rajasic tyag. And sattvic tyag, renunciation born out of wisdom and out of clarity. By introducing this framework of Sat Parajotamo Tyagas, Shri Krishna warns Arjuna not to glorify all sorts of Tyagas blindly. Tyag also is of three types. Now, why this teaching is crucial for us? Human history is full of examples where renunciation was misunderstood. Abandoning family responsibilities, neglecting social duties, or using spirituality as an escape from efforts. Krishna firmly rejects this distortion. He teaches that true spirituality refines action. It does not destroy the action, it refines the action. This shloka marks a turning point where Shri Krishna establishes that renunciation is not about what you do, It is about why and how you do. In this shloka, several practical lessons are emerging. Not all renunciation are virtuous. Motive matters. Work is inevitable. Renouncing action itself is neither possible nor desirable. Inner detachment is superior to outer abandonment. Spiritual maturity determines the quality of renunciation. Thus, Shri Krishna sets a stage for a balanced spiritual life that integrates duty, kartavya karma, wisdom, jnana, and devotion, bhakti. On a deeper level, this shloka reflects Gita's central harmony, action, karma, which is purified by jnana, knowledge, and by devotion, by bhakti. So Tyag becomes a bridge that allows one to live fully in the world while remaining inwardly free. Conclusion of this shloka is, this slok is a gateway that introduces one to the most misunderstood spiritual concept, renunciation, Tyag. Sri Krishna does not reject the renunciation. Instead, he redefines it with precision and with compassion. By declaring renunciation to be threefold, he urges seekers to examine their motives and align their actions with wisdom. कौन सा त्याग कर रहे हैं आप? तामसी, राजसी और सात्विक. True त्याग is not escape from life, but freedom within life. This shloka reminds us that liberation does not lie in abandoning the world, but in transcending attachment while fulfilling one's sacred duty, kartavya karma. Continuing this shloka further, Bhagavan says, Yajnanata karma na tyajam karyameva tat yajnodananta paschaiva pavana animanishinam. We'll skip the word-to-word meaning. God says, acts of sacrifice, yajna, charity, dan, and austerity, tapa, should never be renounced. They must indeed be performed. Sacrifice, yajna, charity, dan, and austerity are purifying for wise. If they purify the wise, what about unwise people like us? It will definitely purify us. In the earlier shlokas, from 2nd to 4th shloka, Sri Krishna clarified that renunciation does not mean abandoning all actions, but abandoning attachment to the fruits of action. Now, this shloka further redefines this idea by stating that certain actions must never be renounced, because they uplift both the individual as well as the society. The three non-renounceable actions which Sri Krishna says in this shloka are yajna, sacrifice, dana, charity, and tapa, austerity. These are not merely ritualistic or religious acts. They represent three fundamental dimensions of human purification: relationship with divine, relationship with society, and relationship with our inner self, oneself. Meaning of yajna: traditionally yajna means Vedic fire rituals. That is what typically yajna means. However, Bhagavad-Gītā says it expands the meaning of this far beyond this ritual. Yajna means any selfless action performed for a higher purpose is yajna. Without selfish desire, of course. It includes performing duties as an offering to God, it is a yajna. Working for social harmony, it is a yajna. Contributing to cosmic balance, it is a yajna. So in modern terms, working honestly, working responsibility, and working selflessly, whether as a teacher, whether as an administrator, whether as parents, or as a leader, can be yajna if done with the right attitude. Krishna says yajna should never be renounced, because yajna reduces ego. It cultivates humility. It aligns human efforts with the divine will. For wise, life itself becomes a continuous yajna. When our attitude changes, every action of ours becomes a yajna. Serving our parents is a yajna. Taking care of family is a yajna. Helping neighbors is a yajna. Charity, dana, is an act of giving without expectation is dana. It is not limited to money. It includes sharing knowledge, offering time and service. Giving emotional support is also charity. Or forgiveness and compassion is also charity. Charity purifies greed and possessiveness. Two major obstacles on the spiritual path, greed and possessiveness. Dana cleanses that. The Gita emphasizes that wealth and abilities are trusts, not personal possessions. When giving is done, charity is done at the right time to the right person and without expectation of return, it becomes spiritually elevating. Shri Krishna insists that dan should never be abundant. Charity should never be abundant. Because spirituality that ignores social responsibility is incomplete. Tapa, austerity. Tapa means self-discipline and conscious restraint. Not self-torture, but restraint. It includes control of senses, regulation of speech, mental discipline, and ethical living. In chapter 17, Shraddha Bhag Yoga, Shri Krishna has clarified about austerity. Body, शरीर तप कैसा होता है, प्योरिटी एंड नॉन वायलेंस इज बॉडी तप. स्पीच, वाक तप कैसा होता है, ट्रूथफुल एंड बेनिफिशियल वर्ड्स यू शुड स्पीक. एंड माइंड, मेंटल तप कैसा होता है, serenity and self-control. Now, tapa strengthens the willpower. It purifies the inner tendencies, our vasanas. Without self-discipline, neither knowledge nor devotion can mature. Discipline नहीं तो कुछ काम करेगी. Hence, tapa is indispensable for spiritual growth. God says not to be renounced. Why emphasize not to be renounced? Na tyajyam. Na tyajyam is crucial in this shloka. Shri Krishna anticipates a common misunderstanding that spirituality requires withdrawal from action. This shloka corrects that misconception by declaring that spiritual life is not escapism. Renunciation is internal, not external. Avoiding responsibility is not liberation. True renunciation lies in freedom from attachment, not in inactivity. Purifying the wise, God says it, Manishana also get purified by it. The second line states that these actions are Pavanani Manishana, purifying the wise also. A wise person does not perform Yajna, Dana, Tapa mechanically. Instead, actions are done with awareness. Ego is minimized. Results are surrendered to the divine. Such actions, they cleanse the ego, they cleanse the desire, they cleanse the pride. Thus, they become instruments of inner purification rather than bondage. What is the relevance of this shloka today? In modern life, this shloka offers a powerful message to us. Do not abandon work in the name of spirituality. मैं गीता अध्ययन कर रहा हूँ, इसलिए मैं सांसारिक काम नहीं करूंगा. God says, I don't accept it. Do not neglect society while seeking liberation. I am doing sadhana for moksha mukti, so I will not offer any seva to society. God says this is wrong. Do not avoid discipline while claiming inner freedom. A teacher teaching sincerely, an officer serving the people honestly, or a volunteer working selflessly, all are performing yajna. Charity becomes compassion. Austerity becomes ethical restraint. And sacrifice becomes dedication. Now, this shloka beautifully harmonizes karma and moksha. It shows that moksha liberation is not achieved by rejecting life, but by purifying engagement with life. Gita's vision is not renunciation of action, but renunciation in action. This shloka stands as a timeless reminder for us. Selfless service refines the heart. Giving dissolves the ego. Charity dissolves the ego. Discipline stabilizes the mind. Tapa stabilizes the mind. For the wise, these actions are not obstacles, they are stepping stones to liberation. By performing yajna, dana and tapa without attachment, a seeker transforms everyday life into a sacred journey towards ultimate freedom, that is moksha, liberation, mukti. Continuing with 6th shloka. एतान्यपित कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्. एतानि these api even too, but karmani karma actions, sangam attachment, tyaktva having abandoned, falani the fruits, the results, kartavyani should be performed, must be done, kartavya karma, iti thus, may my, partha is Arjuna of course, nishchitam for definite, matam opinion, view, uttamam supreme, highest. So God is now giving his opinion. But even this action must be performed. Arjuna abandoning attachment and the desire for their fruits. Perform this action, Yadana Pakar, but abandon attachment and desire for their fruits. This is my definite and supreme conclusion. Nishchitam matamuttamam. In the earlier shloka, Krishna stated that yajna, dana, tapa should never be abandoned because they purify the wise, pavanani manishinam. However, Arjuna may still wonder if they must be done, how should they be done? करना तो ठीक है, करना है, समझ में आ गया, कैसे करना? This shloka answers that question. This shloka gives one of the clearest definition of karma yoga. Do your duties, but renounce attachment and expectation of results. Shri Krishna does not support escapism or abandonment of responsibility. At the same time, he warns against ego-driven action. This message is the middle path. Not actionless renunciation, not selfish action, but selfless performance of duty. Etanipita karmani. This is important. The word api is important here. Api emphasizes that even noble actions, like Yajna, such as charity, rituals, and spiritual practices, can bind a person if performed with attachment. This is a profound insight. Charity done with fame, it binds. Austerity done for ego, it binds. Rituals done for reward, they bind. Therefore, no action is automatically liberating. However sattvic it may be, it is not automatically liberating. The inner attitude determines the bondage or freedom, not the action by itself. Sangang tatva phalanicha. Krishna says, 2 renunciations, not 1. Renunciation of attachment, sangang tatva. Attachment means, this action is mine, I am the doer, I must control the outcome of this. Attachment strengthens the ahankar. And second renunciation is phalang tatva. Desire for the results, it causes anxiety in the mind, fear of failure, greed, and disappointment. But renouncing expectations, the mind becomes calm and free, even while acting fully. This does not mean indifference or laziness. It means performing action as an offering to the God, leaving results to the divine law of the God. Kartavyani, they must be done as a kartavya karma. This word is extremely important. Krishna does not say, do them as you like. Do them only if convenient for you. He says, kartavyani. They are your duties. Yadantapa are your duties. Do them as your duties. Thus, the householders must serve the family and society because it is their kartavya karma. Kartavyani. Teachers must teach. It is kartavyani, their kartavya karma. Leaders must lead ethically because it is their kartavya karma. Seekers must practice discipline because it is kartavya karma. Renunciation is internal, not external. Me nishitam matam uttamam. My supreme conclusion, Shri Krishna says. Shri Krishna declares this teaching as his final, form, and highest view. Why it is uttamam, supreme? Because it is practical for all stages of life. It harmonizes karma and adhyatma, action and spirituality. It prevents hypocrisy. It leads to inner purification, chitta shuddhi. This is the essence of Gita's philosophy. What is the practical implication of this illustration for this? Imagine a farmer. He plows the land, sows the seeds, waters the crop, but the rain is not in his control. The soil conditions vary. Nature has its own laws. A wise farmer does his work sincerely, accepts the outcome peacefully. Similarly, human efforts is our duty. Results belong to the higher order. They are not under our control. This is Karma Yoga in action. This shloka teaches us that liberation does not come from inaction. Liberation comes from freedom from ego. Action becomes worship when offered without selfish motive. Such actions purifies the heart, reduces the desires, and prepares the seeker for knowledge, for jnana. Thus, Karma Yoga becomes a stepping stone to liberation, to moksha. What is the relevance in modern life? In today's world, stress comes from obsession with results. मुझे क्या मिलेगा? What will I gain? Burnout comes from ego-driven ambitions. Conflict comes from attachment to the outcomes. Applying this shloka means work sincerely, accept success humbly, accept failure also calmly, act ethically without obsession. This creates inner balance and outer excellence. Conclusion of this shloka is a master key for spiritual living. It teaches us that do not abandon the action, abandon the attachment. Do not reject the responsibility, reject ego and expectation. When action is done in this spirit, life itself becomes a yajna, and every duty becomes a path to moksha. The Sri Krishna says, this is his supreme and final teaching. Nishchitam madamuttamam. Continuing with 7th shloka. Niyadasya sannyasa karmano nopapadyate mohatasya parityagas tamasah parikirjitah. We'll skip the meanings. The renunciation of obligatory duties is not proper, God says. Abandonment of such duties out of delusion is declared as tamasic renunciation. This tamasic tyag hai. Now God is explaining what is tamasic, rajasic and sattvic tyag. So this is the tamasic tyag. In earlier shloka, Shri Krishna has already made an important clarification that action cannot be completely abandoned by embodied beings. What truly matters is the attitude behind action, not mere physical withdrawal from the action. This shloka focuses specifically on wrong renunciation, categorizing it as tamasic renunciation, tamasic tyag, when one gives up prescribed duties out of ignorance or out of confusion. Meaning of niyatam karma, prescribed duty. The word niyatasya karmana, niyat karma, means duties assigned according to one's role in life, stages of life, and capacity. Examples: a student studying is kartavya karma, parent taking care of the children, kartavya karma, teacher teaching, kartavya karma, leader governing responsibility is kartavya karma, and a seeker performing daily spiritual settings disciplines is kartavya karma. These duties are not optional luxuries. They are essential for social harmony, for personal purification, and for inner growth. Shri Krishna clearly states in this shloka that renouncing such duties is not legitimate renunciation. So every renunciation is not sattvic. This is tamasic renunciation. Why is the renunciation of duty not proper? The phrase used by God is na upapadyate. Means it is not appropriate, not logical. Why? Because duties are not imposed arbitrarily. They arise naturally from one's position in life. If you are son of somebody, it is your duty to perform, to give service to your parents. It has come to you automatically when you are a son. Avoiding them creates inner conflict. It does not lead to liberation. If action itself were bondage, then breathing is also action. Breathing is also bondage. Eating is also action. It is also bondage. Living will be a bondage then. But bondage does not arise from action. It arises from attachment, from fear, from ego, and from desire. Mohat, what says mohat? Pronunciation born out of delusion is mohat. Krishna uses the word mohat due to delusion. This delusion includes beliefs like work is cause of suffering. Wrong belief, no? Work is cause of suffering. Spirituality means escaping responsibility. Mohat, again wrong. If I run away, I will become more peaceful. Again mohat. Renunciation means doing nothing. This is also absurd. Mohat. Such thinking is not wisdom. It is confusion. True spirituality clarifies life. It does not shirk from it. Tamasic renunciation. What is tamasic renunciation? God says in this sloka, Krishna labels this kind of renunciation as tamasa parikirtadaha, declares as tamasic. Tamas represents darkness, inertia, ignorance, laziness, and escapism. Tamasic renunciation occurs when one abandons the duty due to fear, one avoids responsibility due to laziness, or one withdraws because of confusion and not clarity. Such renunciation does not purify the mind. It does not lead to moksha, mukti, liberation. It increases the inner weakness, in fact. Now, renunciation versus escape. This sloka makes a powerful distinction between these two. True renunciation and tamasic renunciation. What is the difference? Giving up attachment is true renunciation. But giving up responsibility is tamasic renunciation. Inner detachment is true renunciation. But outer withdrawal is tamasic renunciation. Action without ego is true renunciation. Avoidance due to fear is tamasic renunciation. Clarity is true renunciation. And confusion is the hallmark of tamasic renunciation. Shri Krishna is warning Arjuna and all seekers that escape is not spirituality. Now, what is the relevance of this sloka to Arjuna's situation on Kurukshetra? Arjuna wanted to drop his bow, withdraw from battle, avoid painful duty, but Shri Krishna sees through this. It is not compassion alone, it is mixed with fear, grief, and confusion. So if you give up this, you will be doing a tamasic tag, Arjuna. It is not sattvic tag. Therefore, this sloka is directly addressed to Arjuna's mindset. Do not call avoidance of your duty as renunciation, as tyag. This is tamasi tyag, not sattvic tyag. The modern psychology also confirms this truth. Avoided responsibility, it increases the anxiety in the mind. Suppressed duty, it returns as a guilt in your mind. Escapism, it weaknesses the self-respect. हमारे बारे में हमको घृणा लगने लगती है कि if you run away from some situation. Geeta anticipated this thousands of years back. Renunciation that weakens life is not liberation. It is a bondage. Spiritual teaching of this sloka offers a deeper message. Do your duty, but purify your intention. Shri Krishna is not glorifying blind action. He is rejecting ignorant withdrawal from the action. True renunciation is inner freedom, emotional maturity, acceptance of responsibility, and performance of duty as worship. This sloka teaches us that renunciation does not mean abandoning responsibility. Running away from duty is always tamasic renunciation. Spiritual life demands clarity. It demands courage. It demands commitment. Liberation comes through a right attitude, not through avoidance. Essence of this sloka in one line: abandoning one's rightful duty out of delusion is not renunciation. It is ignorance, tamasic. Now, what is rajasic tyag? Next sloka. दुःखमित्येव यत्कर्म कायक्लेशभयात् त्यजेत् सकृत्वारसन्त्यागं नैव त्यागफलं लभेत्. Dukham, painful, sorrow. Iti eva, thus thinking so, yat karma, that action, that karma, whatever duty, kaya klesha bhayat. Kaya, body. Klesha is strain, pain. Bhayat, fear. Out of fear of body discomfort or physical strain is kaya klesha bhayat. Tyajet, abandon, gives up. Saha, that person, krutva, having done, rajasam, passionate, driven by ego or attachment, tyagam, renunciation, tyagaphalam, the fruit of renunciation, labhet, to attain, to obtain. So this sloka says, one who gives up prescribed duty, considering it to be painful, out of fear of physical discomfort, performs renunciation, is in the mode of rajas. That is rajasic tyag. Such a person does not attain the fruit of true renunciation. त्याग कर दिया इसलिए आपको पुण्य मिल गया, ऐसा नहीं होता है. From slok 7 to 9, Shri Krishna Bhagavan is classifying three types of tyagas: tamasic tyaga, rajasic tyaga, and sattvic tyaga. Tamasic tyaga we have learned, ignorance based renunciation is tamasic tyaga. Now this shloka says passion based renunciation is rajasic tyaga, and in the next shloka we learn wisdom based renunciation is sattvic tyaga. This shloka talks about rajasic tyaga. What is rajasic renunciation? What is rajasic tyaga? Rajasic renunciation is not born out of wisdom, but of self-centered calculations. That person says, the work is painful, it is tiring, it causes inconvenience, it affects my comfort, my health, my pleasure. Such a person abandons duty not because it is wrong, but because it is uncomfortable. Here renunciation is motivated by fear, by aversion, or by ego, not by spiritual understanding. So God says this is rajasic renunciation. Fear of body discomfort, kaya klesha bhayat. Shri Krishna highlights a very human tendency. Fear of physical strain. Both men पढ़ रही है इसमें यार, छोड़ दो उसको. Kaya klesha bhayat. Avoiding social responsibility because it is stressful. Escaping family duties because they demand sacrifice. Refusing moral action because it invites opposition. Abandoning spiritual discipline because it is too hard to follow. Such renunciation appears intelligent or practical, but inwardly it is attachment to your comfort. Mistaking pain for spirituality. A key teaching of this shloka is that not all giving up is spiritual. So if action is given up only because it produces discomfort, then it is not true renunciation. It is merely escapism, escape. True renunciation requires clarity of purpose, not avoidance of hardship. Why this tag is called rajasic tag? The guna of rajasa, rajasic is characterized by desire for pleasure, that is rajasic. Fear of pain, rajasic. Restlessness, rajasic. And ego-driven decision making is rajasic. Rajasic tag is still centered on I, my comfort, my body, my convenience. Thus, even while renouncing, the person remains bound by the attachment to this I. That's why this is a rajasic tag. Naiva tyaga phalan labhet. Sri Krishna clearly states that such a person does not attain the fruits of renunciation. त्याग कर दिया आपको पुण्य मिल गया, ऐसा नहीं होता है. Why? Because the inner attitude is flawed. The fruit of true renunciation includes inner peace, freedom from guilt, mental clarity, spiritual growth, and grace of God. All that is absence here. Thus, rajasic tag, it produces inner conflict, regret, justification, and hidden dissatisfaction. The action is abandoned, but the bondage remains. You can't abandon the bondage. It remains. How to apply it in daily life? A professional avoids ethical responsibility because it risks the career growth. This is rajasic tag. A leader avoids tough decisions because they invite criticism. Rajasic Tyag. A seeker abandons discipline because it requires great efforts. Rajasic Tyag. A citizen avoids social duty because it disturbs the personal life. Rajasic Tyag. In all such cases, renunciation is motivated by fear and not by wisdom. Sri Krishna's warning to us is, he does not condemn the pain or effort, he warns against it. Using pain as an excuse to escape is not a good act. You can't escape your responsibility using pain as an excuse. Spiritual life does not mean choosing an easy path, but choosing the right path, even at times when it is difficult. The difference between sattvic renunciation, later Sri Krishna will, the next sloka will explain about sattvic tyag also. Action is performed as a duty in sattvic tyag. Attachment to results is renounced and efforts is accepted calmly. Thus, Rajasic tyag, it renounces action to avoid pain, while sattvic tyag, perform the action, renounce the ego and the result. Message to Arjuna is, indirectly Sri Krishna is addressing Arjuna's hesitation, fear of pain, fear of loss, fear of suffering. Sri Krishna reminds him, avoiding duty because it is painful is not renunciation, it is rajas. This sloka teaches us that renunciation is inner, not outer. Motivation matters more than the action. Escapism is not spirituality. Duty performed with detachment, it purifies the mind. Conclusion of this sloka is making avoidance for renunciation. Don't mistake avoidance as renunciation. True Tyaga is not about protecting the body or comfort, but about surrendering ego and attachment. When duty is abandoned out of fear of discomfort, the soul gains neither peace nor progress. Sri Krishna's message is very clear. Do not run away from action because it is difficult. Perform your duty, renounce attachment, and freedom will follow. Next sloka. Karyetyo yat karma niyatam kriyate arjuna sangan tyaktva phalam chaiva satyaga satviko mataha. For Arjuna, when the prescribed duty is performed merely because it ought to be done, and when attachment and desire for its results are abandoned, such renunciation is regarded as sattvic tyag. So after describing tamasic tyag and rajasic tyag, now Sri Krishna says what is sattvic tyag. In earlier slokas 7 and 8, Sri Krishna explains tamasic and rajasic tyag, which are inferior and flawed forms of renunciation. They are not true renunciations. Now in this sloka, he defines sattvic tyag, the purest and highest form of renunciation, which leads to liberation, to moksha. This sloka teaches that true renunciation does not mean giving up action, but giving up attachment and selfish expectation while performing one's prescribed duty. Renunciation is not external abandonment, but internal purification of the motive. Karya ityeva et karmo, action as duty alone. The phrase karyam ityeva is extremely important in this sloka. It means action is done only because it is one's duty. It's not done for pleasure. It's not done for rewards. It's not done for recognition. It's not done due to fear of or some compulsion. Such action is rooted in dharma, not in desire. A person practicing sattvic tyaga, he asks, is this my duty? He doesn't ask, what will I gain from this? This reflects the spirit of karma yoga taught throughout Bhagavad Gita. Niyatam kriyate. Shri Krishna emphasizes niyat karma, action that is in harmony with one's role in life, in accordance with scriptural and ethical principles, performed regularly and responsibly. Renunciation never means neglect of responsibility. A householder, a teacher, an administrator, or worker must not abandon duties in the name of spirituality. True spirituality perfects the action. It does not destroy, it perfects the action. Sangam tyaktva, renunciation of attachment. Attachment, sangha, is emotional dependence on success or failure, praise or blame, profit or loss. Sattvic renunciation means acting fully, caring sincerely, yet remaining inwardly free. That is sattvic. This is inner detachment, not indifference. One may work intensely, but without egoistic clinging to it, the karma phala. Phalai chaiva tyaktva, renunciation of results of karma. This is the heart of this shloka. Renunciation of fruits does not mean not receiving the results, not enjoying the lawful rewards. It means not being psychologically dependent on the outcomes, accepting success and failure with equanimity, offering results to the divine. Such an attitude, it leads to mental peace, freedom from anxiety, stability in joy and in sorrow. This is the practical meaning of nishkama karma. That is what God is saying. Satyaga satviko mataha. Krishna concludes decisively, this form of renunciation is pure. This form of renunciation is sattvic. It is approved by wisdom. It leads to clarity, it leads to peace, and it leads to liberation, moksha. Unlike Rajasic renunciation, which expects reward, or Tamasic renunciation, which abandons the duty, Sattvic Tyaga uplifts the soul. This shloka harmonizes action with renunciation, worldly life and spirituality, effort and surrender. It shows that moksha, liberation, is not achieved by escape from life, but by right engagement with the life. Sattvic Tyag purifies the mind. It reduces the ego. It leads towards self-knowledge, Atma-Jnana. How to apply it in daily life? A teacher teaches sincerely without craving praise is Sattvic. A worker performs duty honestly without obsession for promotion, Sattvic. A parent serves the family without possessiveness, Sattvic. A leader works for society without ego. Such living transforms ordinary work into spiritual practice. God has given us abundant opportunities to perform Sattvic Tyag in our day-to-day life. We let it go. The message of this shloka has been conveyed by Shri Krishna in earlier adhyas also. You have the right to action, but not to its fruits. In second adhyaya, Karmanyavadhikaraste. In third adhyaya, there is a shloka which teaches perform action without attachment. In 12th adhyaya also we learn one who is free from disturbance is dear to me. Now this shloka is the culmination of Karma Yoga. This shloka teaches that true renunciation is the state of mind, not an external act. When duties are performed as worship, without attachment, without craving results, action becomes liberating instead of binding. Such Sattvic Tyag leads to inner freedom, purity of heart, and readiness for self-realization, Atma-Jnana. This is the ideal spiritual life for a seeker living in this world. We'll take one more shloka. Nadveshta kushalam karma kushale nanushajyate tyagi sattva samavishto medhavi chinna samshayaha. God says, a true renuncer he neither hates unpleasant actions nor becomes attached to pleasant ones. Such a person, filled with purity, sattva, is wise and free from all doubts. Nadveshta kushalam karma kushale nanushajyate. He does not hate unpleasant action and does not fall in love with the pleasant actions. I will do this because I like it. I will not do that because I don't like it. This shloka specifically describes the inner psychology of a true tyagi, a person who has mastered renunciation in spirit, not merely in external behavior. Nadveshta akushalam karma. He does not hate unpleasant action. Ordinarily, human beings divide actions into pleasant versus unpleasant, convenient versus inconvenient, profitable versus unprofitable. When faced with akushala karma, that means the tasks that are difficult or painful or thankless, the mind naturally develops dvesha, aversion. We resist duties that involve efforts, that involve criticism or loss or discomfort. However, a true Tyagi does not hate such actions. Why? Because he understands that karma is only an instrument. He sees as duty, kartavya, not as a source of pleasure or pain. He knows that results are governed by higher order, by Ishvara. Results already in hand. Thus, even unpleasant responsibilities are accepted calmly and consciously, without inner revolt. Kushale na anushajyate. He is not attached to pleasant action. This is even subtler. Many people do not mind performing good deeds because they are emotionally addicted to them. Attachment to praise, attachment to success, attachment to moral superiority, attachment to joy-producing actions. The Gita warns that attachment to good actions is also bondage. A Sattvic Tyagi performs noble actions, accepts pleasant duties, enjoys harmony, but does not cling to them. He does not say, this work gives me happiness, so I must always do only this. Such attachment eventually leads to fear of loss, ego inflation, and dependence. This shloka beautifully presents emotional neutrality. No hatred for unpleasant work, no clinging to pleasant work. This state is called equanimity, samatva. Sri Krishna does not advocate indifference or laziness. Rather, he teaches inner freedom while remaining fully active. Tyagi sattva samavishta. The true renuncier is filled with sattva. Here Sri Krishna reveals the inner quality of that genuine renouncer. Sattva represents clarity. It represents purity. It represents light, harmony, and knowledge. A sattvic mind sees these things as they really are. It is not clouded by emotional extremes. Naturally inclines towards the balance. The renunciation born out of sattva is natural and effortless, not forced suppression. This contrasts with rajasic tyag, renunciation due to frustration or fear, or tamasic tyag, renunciation done due to ignorance or laziness. Only sattvic tyag will lead you to liberation, to moksha. God says Medhavi. This answer is wise. Medha means feel refined with intelligence, the power to discern. We understand permanent versus impermanent, essentials versus non-essential, and duty versus desire. Such wisdom enables the Tyagi to act without ego, accepts outcome without agitation, remains steady in changing situations. This wisdom is not merely intellectual, it is lived understanding. Chinna samshaya. His doubts are destroyed. Doubt is a major obstacle in spiritual growth. Common doubts include, am I doing the right thing? Should I renounce or enjoy? Is action bondage or liberation? A true Tyagi has resolved his conflicts because he understands the law of karma. He knows the self is actionless. He acts as an instrument, not as a doer. Thus his doubts are cut off. Not merely suppressed, but they are cut off. How to apply this in practical life? This shloka is extremely important for the modern life. In professional life, perform difficult tasks without resentment and successful tasks without ego. In family life, accept responsibility calmly, without emotional manipulation or expectations. In spiritual life, do not cling to rituals, disciplines, or experiences. Use them as means and not ends. The teaching of this shloka is, true renunciation is inner freedom, not outer withdrawal. It is freedom from emotional extremes while remaining fully engaged in life. The person who either hates hardship or clings to comfort has crossed the boundary of bondage. Conclusion of this shloka, it presents a very precise definition of a liberated worker. He acts without aversion. He acts without attachment. His mind is pure. His intellect is sharp. His doubts are dissolved. Such a person lives in the world, yet remains untouched by it. This is the pinnacle of Karma Yoga and Tyag. So I think we should stop here after 10th sloka. All slokas are very important and very interesting to discuss, but time is also important. So we stop here. Now the forum is open for you to raise your questions about all the slokas that we have learned today. Thank you so much. Jai Shri Krishna.
Vaidya, that was truly mesmerizing. As we reflect on Bhagwan's teaching in this concluding chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we bow in silent gratitude at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, who reminds us that true renunciation is not giving up action, which he has been saying time and again, but letting go of attachment while performing our duty with clarity and surrender. Our heartfelt gratitude to Vikas Bhaiyaji for leading us through this profound wisdom with such depth, devotion, and lived insight, and for showing us how to embody calm strength, discernment, and inner poise while fully engaging with realities of modern life. And as part of Geeta Jayanti Mahotsav, the Geeta Olympiad is in full swing with engaging events, attractive prizes up to 1 lakh rupees, and it's open to everyone for free. If you haven't registered yet, please do so at play.learngeeta.com. Also, our 45th L1 batch begins on 30th of January. Just as we have been blessed to walk this spiritual path and experience the quiet joy and wisdom of Geeta Ji, this is a wonderful opportunity to share the same blessing with our friends and family across the world. Registration is simple and open at joingeeta.com. We now request sadhaks to please raise their hands and if possible switch on their video cameras to ask questions and seek clarification of their doubt from Vikas Bhaiyaji. Request who are watching this session from YouTube to join the Zoom link should you want your doubts clarified. Please raise your hand and we'll unmute you.
I think we have taken too much time today.
Yes, but Bhaiya, it was so mesmerizing.
People have lost their patience probably.
Yes, Bhaiya, looks like there are not questions. People are still trying
Okay, you can
to,
reserve your
I
questions
think,
to the next
invite.
session. If you are tired of
Yes.
hearing me, you can reserve your questions for the next session. We can always discuss any questions at any time. Not necessary to discuss only in this session.
Actually, you can imbibe what Bhaiya has said today. Yes, the people are thinking, Didi. And this is a very long, there are 6 parts to this Vivechan session since there are
Yeah.
78 chapters. So you can always ask in the following sessions. So with
And if we
your
understand the
permission,
first session well, then we are clear to understand the remaining sessions. So today's session took a little more time, only 10 shloka we could cover, because this is the foundation of this adhyay. If we can grasp it well, then the remaining of adhyay is not so difficult to grasp.
to Bhaiya. Bhaiya, with your permission, shall we move towards
Yeah,
Samapan?
sure. Jai Shri
Thank
Krishna.
you. Sujata ji has a question. Yes, Sujata ji, please unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself. Yes, please ask your question. You're unmute.
Okay, thank you, Didi. This chapter is so interesting. Bhaiya, you explained it so well. I don't know how to say thank you to you. It is so nice. I really, really appreciate your explanation. I'm very emotional and I am really enjoying your explanations. Thank you so much. This is what I wanted to tell you. Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna, Swayadi.
Jai Shri Krishna.
It teaches us our day-to-day behavior, how we should conduct ourselves. Sattvarjatamo, what binds us, what liberates us. It makes our concepts clear. Sometimes we act in ignorance, thinking that this is going to lead me to liberation. Actually, it is putting us under bondage. If the God makes it so clear for us in this adhyaya, what will liberate you and what is putting you in bondage, then we know clearly how to act. And this is the knowledge we are gaining from this adhyaya.
Yeah. Reading shlokas, we are not gaining as much, but listening to you, it really, really gives a deeper meaning and how we can use it in our daily life. You are explaining so well, and that's what I like it so much, and I never miss your classes. Thank you.
Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna.
I think all of us resonate with what Sujata ji just said. And Bhaiya, you are talking about, taking more time. All of us were feeling, let it continue. That is the feeling that was here. Truly, Bhaiya, it really resonates into our modern life. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bhaiya, for that engaging and deeply insightful Vivechan session. And look forward to the next 5 sessions on chapter 18. And on behalf of Geeta Pariwar, I take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for attending this session today and look forward. And I'm sure you will be back next week for the next part of the Enlightening Vivechan session on this chapter. I express my deep gratitude to the technical and back-end team working behind the scene for their contributions to make this session successful. And now we offer our sincere gratitude to Bhagwan for all the blessings he has bestowed upon us. For that, I call upon Dr. Mrs. Deepa Milin Wankhadeji from Kolhapur, Maharashtra. A dentist by profession, Deepa ji joined Geeta Pariwar in May 2025 and provides a devoted seva as a TA and a GC and also in the calling and support and content sharing team. Jai Shri Krishna Didi, please lead us in our prayers.
जय श्री कृष्ण दीदी धन्यवाद योगेशं सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण सभी को
Jai Shri Krishna Didi, thank you for taking the prayer so beautifully. And sadhaks, let us stay anchored in the divine wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, participating regularly and every day in our weekday classes, and again being back next week for the next part of the Vivechan on Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. We will now conclude today's session with all of us chanting the Hanuman Chalisa together. Jai Shri Krishna.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरनउ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबेको आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबेको रसिया राम लखन सीता मन वसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिंहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही समबाई सहस बदन तुम रोय जो जस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि को बिद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरई हनुमत बल बीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।
जय श्री कृष्णा।